Good afternoon. Good to be back. Thanks to Jesse and the department for the invitation. It's been a while. I'm Chongyi Wei. I recently accepted a position as associate professor at Rutgers University. I may regret it because we left San Francisco. But so how I got into public health, I think part of it was just serendipity, and part of it was through a very deeply personal connection. So 30 years ago, I'll keep it short. I was 7. I was in elementary school, and I already knew I was different. I was attracted to boys, and my classmate called me Sissy all the time. So throughout that period, puberty and college, there was this constant feeling of confusion and shame. But I didn't know who I was or what I was, because back then there was no information related to gay whatsoever in China. So I heard that there was this land of freedom called United States, that you can be whatever you want. So I was determined to come to the United States, but achieving academic excellence was never on my mind. I accepted any program who would provide me a scholarship to the United States. So I got into my master's program of social and public policy at Duquesne University, and I was there for 2 years. Policy is a little bit boring. So after I graduated, I started a job as a research specialist at the Allegheny County Health Department. So I was working on the SAMHSA-funded program serving children with behavioral and mental health issues in Allegheny County. This is a very important public health issue, but it didn't really connect with me at a personal level. And since I did not have any public health background, I feel like I needed more knowledge about public health. Also, it's very interesting, they couldn't sponsor my visa to stay in the United States. The only way I could stay is to continue school. So I started contacting folks at Pitt. I don't remember how I got connected to Dr. Tony Silvestri or Dr. Stahl. But they were the first gay researchers I've met. They're not just gay research, but they were out and proud and confident. And I was like, whoa, you can do that, you can be that. And then I met with Dr. Stoll. I remember I did not know a single thing about HIV, not a single thing about gay men's health. I was just sitting there listening to him. But I was interested, I feel connected. That seems like it's something important to me and to the community, to the gay community. So I actually got into the program, and I'm very surprised. I think back then the standards were a little low.
I resent that.
So since she's in the picture, I'll also give a shout out to Dr. Patricia Document. She claimed me as her adopted son while I was in the program. So I received my training here. I had a great time. I had great mentors, which jump-started my public health career. After graduation, I did my postdoc here for a year. That was 2010. So 8 years ago, the NIH funding environment was not as harsh, so I was very lucky to get my K Award in that year, which is a 5-year career development award from the NIH. It's the best thing. If you can get it, you get it. You have 100% protected time, you receive additional training, and of course, doing research. So, back then, nobody was really doing much HIV research in China. There was no capacity. People didn't know what was going on. I remember in 2004, when my colleagues went to Guangzhou, China, which is in the south part of China, which is economically developed and more open, they were talking about to CDC people about HIV among different populations. And they were like, we don't have gay people. But then, as you can imagine, the epidemic is already going on there. It's hidden, but people didn't know it. So for my first research project, I wanted to do something in my home country, sort of give it back a little bit. So this is the first project we did. You know, research can be fun. This looks pretty fun. We did a series of comic books that try to address different barriers to HIV self-testing among gay men in China. So I get to work with a health communication strategist at the Stop AIDS in San Francisco, which is one of the oldest CBO combating HIV epidemic in the country. And I also get to work with a cartoonist who's actually drawing for Batman series now. So he drew the entire series of these posters and booklets for my K Award. So 2 years into my K Award, I had the opportunity to go to San Francisco against all the best advice from Dr. Stoll. Yes, San Francisco, I'm going. So I went to San Francisco 5 years ago. It's a very high pressure environment where you're expected to bring in 100% of your funding to support your salary. And it's, I think, Johns Hopkins as well. So if you think you are a hardcore overachiever, or you can handle stress constantly for 10, 15 years, go ahead. But that was a good training for me as I was pretty junior. Because of that stress, I was able to, I worked really hard and try to, subsequently I got an R1 to do a larger study of a different type of health communication, which we call crowdsourcing, to see how using the crowd wisdom we can come up with better communication strategies. That grant is almost into its 4th year. And most recently, I also got an R34 grant. Before I left UCSF, I was working really hard because I was keep worrying, oh my God, my funding is gonna run out, they're gonna fire me, my salary is gonna be reduced, and I live in San Francisco. My third project I'm working on is HIV self-testing. So we want to see how, by putting these testing kits into people's hands, where they can test themselves at a place where they feel secure and comfortable, that can remove stigma related to testing. So that's ongoing, which is a randomized control trial. So part of what we do, in addition to individual research, we also want to build capacity in other countries. So, you want to help people to be able to do what they can do in their country, so it's more sustainable. So in the picture above is my consultants on my K Award. They did a training workshop about time location sampling, which is a specialized sampling method to recruit diverse hidden populations. So they did that for my K Award. And the picture above is a D43 training grant where I'm a faculty mentor on. That's supported by the NIH Fogarty. So it's in Guangzhou, and we conduct annual training for junior faculty in China to improve their clinical and behavior intervention skills. And we've also conducted manuscript writing workshops for people from developing countries, including Myanmar, of course, China, and South Africa. There seems to be a very high expectation now for all these developing countries to publish in English journals. So they, it's sort of a criteria for their promotion as well. So we've been conducting a lot of these types of workshop as well. Oh, so in addition to research, and part of my job is to go to exotic places, so to do conferences. No, I'm kidding. Part of my job is also to disseminate, right? We need to raise awareness of what's going on, especially in developing countries. So I try not to go to many conferences, but when it's a really nice place, I go. So this was South Korea. No, it's actually a part of a requirement for progress report to be submitted to NIH, disseminate your results to the community and public, including the research community. Okay, so I just took this picture from my new office. This is pretty much summarize my main daily activity. We have manuscript lined up to be done for each grant, so I can continue to get funding. I learned very early on in my career, publish or perish. So publication is very important as a researcher. And so I'm still at a research-based university, although it's all hard money now, so it's really sweet. I don't need to worry about pay for my salary. But of course, there's still the expectation of doing research. So I need to continue my line of research. I don't have to do it every cycle as a PI, but at least I can take my time to craft something strong. One every year to be submitted to NIH. So I think that's all I have.